Sit.
All right, welcome everybody to the August 19th, 2026 regular board meeting of the Butler County Veteran Service Commission Board of Commissioners. Could I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Callahan.
Here.
Commissioner Applegate.
Here.
Commissioner Robinette. Commissioner Rosenbaum.
Here.
Can I get somebody to make a motion to excuse Commissioner Robinette for
I move that we excuse Commissioner Robinette from this meeting.
I second that motion.
have a motion and a second. Lisa, please.
Commissioner Rosenbaum.
Yes.
Commissioner Applegate.
Here.
Commissioner Callahan.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes. Also present today is our Executive Director, Mike Farmer, our Assistant Director, Matt Jones, and our Executive Assistant, Lisa Meese. Could you all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All righty. Need somebody to make a motion to approve today's agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda for August the 19th, 2026.
I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Lisa, please.
Commissioner Rosenbaum.
Yes.
Commissioner Applegate.
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the July 15th meeting minutes?
I move that we approve the board meeting minutes for July 15th, 2026.
I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Lisa, Lisa, please.
Commissioner Rosenbaum.
Yes.
Commissioner Applegate.
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes. Next up, we're going to get updates on our committees. First up is our Suicide Prevention Committee. Mark?
The only thing I have at the moment is our next meeting is August the 27th at 2 p.m. It'll be in the first floor conference room in the Government Services Center. That's it.
All right, next is the Veteran Memorial Committee. I'll do that. Pretty much the only thing that's happening right now is we are still searching for someone to renovate the cannon or restore, whatever you want to call it. I have found a guy. I was given a phone number of a person that owns a fairly large tire company, and he's a member of it. And he's searching for tires for it. He's in agreement that even when he finds them and he gives us an estimate, they should not be changed until the sandblasting is done of the cannon. He may know someone that could do it. So he's going to be getting back to me on whether he's able to successfully find somebody to actually do the sandblasting and painting of it. I've given him all the requirements that it has to stay the same color and so forth. So that's really where we're at right now. Everything else seems to be going okay. If you've been out there lately, our sprinkler system obviously is working because all of our stuff is alive and kicking. So please go up there and check it out. That's all I have. Mike, did you have anything to add to that?
I have nothing to add.
Okay. Next up is our Veteran Appreciation Day Committee report. Ken?
Okay, so this Saturday is the Veterans Appreciation Day. It's 12 to 6. We're going to have over 140 vendors. We're going to have some farm equipment. I believe there's going to be a car show. We're going to have a giant obstacle course. There's going to be lots of food and lots of entertainment. Two bands, I believe, Leadfoot and Don't Tell Steve. Mike, is that the two bands?
That's correct.
And they will play in 2 different shifts, about 2.5 hours each. So I really encourage everyone in the county or outside the county to come out. I think it's going to be a great day, and everyone's worked really hard to have this event appreciate all of our veterans in Butler County.
Okay. We'll talk after the meeting, how we're going to space out the commissioners throughout the day. We only have the one tent, so we don't want all of us there along with the staff. I'm sure we'll need help with setup, So that would be a good time for some of us, and breakdown.
Do we have an estimated location? for
No,
the
we
tent?
know the same place it was last year, right on the corner there.
Okay.
I think that's what,
Second Market. yeah, right
Second
there.
Market. Okay,
Or, I'm sorry, that's not Market, is it? That's
I don't know. It's
Dayton.
Dayton.
Dayton,
Oh, that is Dayton?
Dayton, yeah.
I was right, and the person told me I was wrong the other day. Okay, so next up, we're gonna get a update from our executive director on where we stand as a committee for space, and a presentation that's been put together that a lot of people, mostly Mike, but a lot of others have read and reread and made suggestions, but so this will give you an idea of our vision of how we're going to approach the county commissioners and Judy Boyko to try to find us some space. So Mike?
If I may, Commissioners, if before I give the presentation, if we could have our new service officer, David Helm, introduce himself so he could return to the office for work.
Yeah.
David, you want to go ahead and come up to the podium?
All right.
Tell the board a little bit about yourself.
All right. Good morning, Lisa, gentlemen. My name is David Helm. I grew up in Mason, Ohio, directly out of high school, went to Marine Corps, served 2001 to 2009, did 2 combat tours to Iraq, got out, went to school, became a paramedic, and did that for 2.5 years, like a little over a year of that was at Butler County Sheriff's at the jail. And during that time also, I started a landscaping company and grew that to a decent size and did that for about 12 years. And about a year and a half ago, I sold it, and here I am.
What is it about you Marines after you get out of college for getting landscaping?
It's a good line of work to get into.
Well, welcome. I think you've already met all of us, I believe, probably
Yeah,
throughout the time.
most of you.
Okay, so, well, real quick then.
Chuck Rosenbaum.
Ken Callahan, I think I introduced myself earlier.
Bruce Jones.
Mark Applegate.
Okay, well, I know he knows you. There's one,
Missing, right?
and then there's
Greg Robinette is not.
Greg Robinette. He'll be back before this weekend, is all I know.
We'll be back for Saturday for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff being fed into your brain. I'm sure you'll be able to absorb it all, but you got one of the best teachers you could have in Matt. I would put him against any service officer in this state as far as knowledge, and he's definitely got an ability to train people. So, listen to Matt and the rest of the gang, and I'm sure you'll do fine. Do we know when are all of them going up to the
Training.
state training at the same time, or
The state they're going to-
They are not attending OSA CVSO training this year. They'll take NACVSO
online? Okay.
the last week of September. I think it's
Okay.
the 28th through October 3rd.
Okay, so they won't get true accreditation until next year.
No, they'll get NACVSO accreditation
Okay. All right.
That's a higher
4th.
Yeah.
national.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Welcome aboard. Just like I said, absorb everything you can. You got anything else you want to say?
No, just thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, welcome aboard.
Nice to
Thank
meet
you.
Thanks, David.
Okay. So back to Mike's presentation.
Commissioners, if you allow me, I'm going to stand because it's a little bit easier to have a
good.
discussion with you rather than looking to my right as we see
Yeah.
the presentation.
Yeah.
So this presentation is really what the Space Utilization Committee has talked about. Now, I realize that only 2 of the commissioners sit on that committee, along with Lisa and myself, and then we've kind of conferred with Matt in the office. So I thought it would be best if we give you a presentation of what the Space Utilization Committee is looking at, why we're looking at that direction, and then allow for a public discussion if the others have any feedback or things that you'd like to point out. We can certainly have a discussion. It's a little bit easier for me rather than having 5 individual conversations to do it in a public meeting where we can do it. So I'm going to jump right in. I think that it's very important that the commission knows and that the community knows that facilities do not define our mission, but they certainly determine our capacity to fulfill it. Because the common theme that you'll see throughout the day is that the commission is very much at capacity and has been for a number of years. Services have changed over the years. You go back 100 plus years ago when the Veteran Service Commissions were established in the state of Ohio. The structure was very different. At that time, they took a benefits application, whether that be a DD 214 that the state of Ohio sent down to our office, got put in a filing cabinet, and we held it. Then those, if you go back just on the DD 214 front, then those eventually got scanned into microfiche or microfilm. We have evolved over time. A claim used to be as simple as filling it out, you drop it in the mail, and then you'd sit back and wait years for an answer. Appellate process, 15 to 20 years. That's no longer the case. Your office now, we're talking about complex federal veterans benefits claims. You're talking about healthcare navigation, mental health, suicide prevention. We are addressing homelessness with dental program, transportation. We have, the pandemic has greatly injected, for the betterment, technology into our daily operations. So as we have upgraded our systems, our servers, our platforms, all of the stuff to help us do the jobs, it has changed. And there's only so much that technology can account for in decreasing the workload. You still have to have the body to do it, whether we're talking about AI, automated tasks, programs automatically running reports. You still have to have the employees to staff and man the programs. So a modern Veteran Service Commission really requires privacy for those appointments, technology, accessibility to the public, as well as security and room for our multidisciplinary service delivery that we've evolved to. So at a very high level, the commission has expanded its work and our operating and what we're operating and the services that we're providing, but they've all remained within the same footprint. I don't have the exact date that we moved into the first floor on 315 High Street. We have been there since I got hired, so I can tell you it is greater than 12 years ago. Matt,
where I started too. So
yeah, so
when the building
we're at a
was
long time. So we have grown the services. You'll see in some slides coming up just how much we've expanded and where, all within the same operational footprint. But as we kind of addressed going back to 2022, the space, we knew the space, we had outgrown it then. We knew we had outpunted our coverage. We knew that there was more work to be done. And we're landlocked. So we have been working on this solution for about 4 years. It didn't magically come overnight. I think the Board of Commissioners over time, you all have led, and the commissioners before you have led us to essentially building an empire and understanding that veterans benefits is not simply filing a claim. There's healthcare navigation, there's mental health needs, there's homelessness. Your staff puts on multiple hats. They could be answering the phone, and 15 seconds later, they are a social worker that is having a veteran or a surviving family member unload all of their frustration, mental health, whether that be with the VA, whether it be personal issues, and then they immediately shift gears and go into pick another topic. This happens daily. This is just our normal operations and how the commission has evolved over time. So I think it's very important. I understand that most of you have a pretty good sense, but for those watching and those that may not understand the Veteran Service Commission, when we talk about a veteran's VA claim, it's no longer a single transaction. So I tried to break it down really simple, and it's not this simple in the actual practicum of what we do. But for the sake of discussion, we're going to make it this simple. The veteran would come in, they do an interview with us. From that interview, we glean a little bit about what their medical history is, what conditions they'd like to file for, and our staff immediately starts to develop a strategy. The name of the game here in Veterans Benefits is strategy, because we're not going to dive into it today, but there's different theories of entitlement for service connection and various benefits. Sometimes you may need a discharge upgrade before we can enroll you in VA healthcare. You may need that before we can accept you on the Veterans Treatment Court. So sometimes we've got to unlock a gate or do benefit A before we get to B, and it's this reoccurring transaction. Once we've got a strategy down, then we're in the evidence side of things. So we need some medical evidence, and we need to figure out what is going on with veteran Doe, how long it's been going on, where they're treated at, all of that type of information. Once we have it, we compile what we feel is a fully developed claim ready for the VA to adjudicate. So we'll send it off. Now, everything is electronic nowadays, so we send this off. It's a simple click from our computer. We upload a packet. We get instant notification that the VA has received it. The clock starts. The average clock on a claim right now is about 123 days from the time we file till we get a decision. Now, that's not saying that they got the right decision in 123 days. We have a decision. So once we hit submit, the VA is going to order some compensation and pension examinations. So whether that be a ACE review or the veteran has to report, there's different theories there, but the VA is going to do something. They're going to come back and they're going to say, here's the decision. If that decision is granted, we still review it. Our staff still has to determine, did they apply the appropriate rating? Is it the appropriate percentage? Did they miss something? Are there other special monthly compensations that they should have been entitled to that got missed? So we have to go down and review. We look at effective dates. When did that start? When should it have started? It's not as simple as when you filed the claim. Some of the conditions require earlier effective dates. For example, under the PACT Act or Blue Water Navy Act, the veteran may have been continuously pursuing this claim for 15, 20 years. So we have to look at, did they get all that right? At any point in time, there are different decisions or different lanes that we can go from there. We can go into a supplemental claim. We could get some new and relevant evidence. We could file for additional development, send another claim back through. If there is some type of law error or flaw in the process, maybe the VA failed to adequately get records or order records, or they missed an exam, or they ordered the wrong exam, we can ask for a higher level review. That's internal to the VA. We don't get to submit more evidence, but what we do is get to have a conversation with the VA and say, hey, this is the law, this is your policy under the M21, you missed this, we need it redone. So we can get another decision that way. And then the longest way is often a board appeal. So this goes to a veterans law judge. Again, the veteran is still under your umbrella at the Veterans Service Commission. Your employees are still representing this veteran in front of a federal veterans law judge. This often takes the most time. There's different lanes. We're not going to dive into all of them. This is a super high level overview of what we're doing in the office. But one veteran, one claim, that's potentially years of representation. I think right now Matt's got some cases that are 8+ years. I've got some that are 6+ years pending at the board. Some of you have cases that have been pending that long. So this is a continuous type of process. We get evidence, we get it back. It's a continual evaluation of what that process looks like. So if we dive a little deeper, what does an appointment sound like? And I don't know that we've ever had this conversation with you as commissioners, but I think it's important to understand what happens in an appointment. So a service officer may ask, how much money do you have in your bank account right now? We need to know that information. I need to know how much you have in your bank account right now. That could be your checking account. That could be a 401k. I need to know all of them. We can't leave a leaf unturned because it will change eligibility for some benefits. Sometimes we have to ask, does your spouse help you bathe, dress, or use the restroom? We're getting pretty personal here. And a veteran or a surviving spouse may not want to answer that question. But it's important for us to know because there could be special monthly compensation that adds on to what we're filing for. It could be that we're filing for a pension and we need to know what level of care happens. How much urinary leakage are you experiencing each day? This is actually a pretty common question in our practice, particularly with those who were exposed to hazardous materials such as Agent Orange, and they may have had prostate cancer. One of the side effects after they have removed the prostate is that the veteran would experience kind of some uncontrolled leakage, and they probably wear some type of depend or pull-up. Not in all cases, that's not true, but usually there is some type of leakage. That's important because it determines how the VA is going to rate the claim. Are you able to get and maintain an erection? This is an important conversation to have. To those listening in the community, you might be thinking that is an absurd question to ask in a public office. This is an everyday question that we ask, particularly again of those of the Vietnam era that served, whether in-country Vietnam, Blue Water Navy, Brown Water, now that's expanded to Thailand and other areas, because erectile dysfunction is a rateable condition. But if I don't know that the veteran has trouble either getting or maintaining an erection, we wouldn't know to file for that or to get medical evidence to support that. How did your husband die? Now we're shifting over onto the survivor side. This matters because the surviving spouse, and you could insert here, how did your wife die if she was the veteran? This isn't gender specific, but again, it matters how the veteran passed away because we may be looking at a survivor's pension versus indemnity compensation, dependency indemnity compensation, or DIC. That makes a difference in what we file for and what evidence is gathered. My wife says that she's afraid of me when I get angry. Mental health is a big part of what we do. And I think the four of you understand that. We take on a lot of vicarious trauma as the staff. There's a lot of private conversations. It takes a lot to admit that. And so for us, that could kind of be I don't want to call it a red flag, but a sign or a symptom that we could ask a little bit further. Perhaps there's mental health issues that have gone undiagnosed or unaddressed, or the medication's not working. Maybe things have gotten more severe and we need to talk about an increase if this is new and a veteran that we've seen in the past. We'll need to know, and we need to have a conversation about talking about what happened during the traumatic event. So if a veteran is claiming assault, I need to hear about the assault. I need to understand what happened. Where were you? What physically took place? Are we talking a sexual assault, a physical assault? Are we talking that someone was, there is a various amount of options here. And we need the veteran to be honest with us. And why this matters is because a lot of the conversation around the space utilization that we've been having hinges around privacy. These are all questions that pop up. I was sexually assaulted when I was serving. This could be male, it could be female. It is far more common than you think. Again, this is going to lead to other follow-up questions where we need to understand when and where, because your employees are the ones that are compiling this fully developed claim, getting all the evidence together, filling out the stressors, doing all of that so that the veteran doesn't have to relive, or that they relive the least amount as possible when they're going through these things. Have you thought about killing yourself? We've talked a lot about suicide prevention. We've talked a lot about the 6 veterans this year in 2026, 12 last year that have died by suicide here in Butler County. We ask this question on a regular basis. It's important to understand where someone is with their mental health. And depending on the answer that is returned, we have different avenues that we follow. Do you have a plan to hurt yourself? So now we're assessing, we've shifted from the service officer role and developing a claim to, in a sense, almost a mental health worker. while not clinicians, it's important to ask these questions because what we're assessing is how much of a threat, what is the risk of myself hurting myself or others? Do I need to call? Do I need to reach out to a supervisor? Do we need to have somebody respond here? Do they need immediate care? What are the options going into this? Privacy is it is an essential part of what we do. It's just part of the service, right? It's just part of the questions that we ask. So we take those conversations, some of those examples that I just gave to you, and we have to develop from those questions and answers a well-developed claim. So on the left-hand side, you'll see some of the same questions. So we had a conversation in our office. Your service officers are now required to apply several different pieces of framework. The first one is the 38 United States Code. Okay, that is the physical statutory authority for veterans benefits. The next thing they got to do is they have to know the 38 Code of Federal Regulations. That is an extremely important piece of our daily workings. That's the regulatory criteria. So that's what says if you go to Part 4 for prostate cancer and your prostate's been removed and you have residuals, that is where we're going to find it, in the 38 CFR Part 4. Every medical condition has a diagnostic code. Every one of them is rated in that 38 CFR. Your employees have to know that. You get pretty familiar with it. I wouldn't say you ever know it like the back of your hand. We have resources where we can pop in electronically. We have hard copies. Now that changes over time. So for example, hypertension, the ratings have changed for that. A big discussion on Capitol Hill right now is changing the 38 CFR, the regulatory matter for sleep apnea and tinnitus. That's where these changes would take place. So your employees have to stay up on that. You could call it whatever you want. We call them county veteran service officers. Other municipalities call them service officers. Service organizations call them national service officers or DSOs. This is the only profession where no matter insert any of those titles, they're practicing federal law and they haven't passed a bar association and they're not attorneys. You can call it what you want, but our employees are regularly discussing private matters, financial matters, and doing case law. That's the system that Veterans Benefits is built on. So to have a great claim, to say we want to be successful, there's three important things that we got to do. A, we need the veteran to have a current diagnosis. B, we need either an event or an injury that happened in service. And the third thing is a link or nexus that says number one is connected to number two. And that's typically done by either a treating physician, so the doctor that the veteran regularly goes to, or it's done by another professional. Sometimes you can get letters of opinion from, for example, an oncology doctor that's never seen this type of cancer. This only exists in those that were likely exposed to asbestos. So we take those three things. You take the current diagnosis plus that event or nexus, and that gives us a chance for a pretty favorable outcome. Now, there's still some things that could go wrong in a claim. But again, if you think back, there's different lanes and there's different decision points. So if something goes wrong, we could do a supplemental, we could do a higher level if it was a procedural issue, administrative issue with the VA. Sometimes we just have to take things to the Board of Appeals because there is no other method. It will never get granted at the regional office. Coming from a VSR or an RVSR at the regional office, they don't really have the authority. It would be like, I don't have the authority on financial applications, it has to come to the board. I mean, that's where we're at on some of the cases. Really, the appointment is where we're gonna gain all of the personal experience. It's where we organize that all in, and then that evidence-based claim gets sent to the VA for adjudication. So our organizational scale, probably nobody knows this better than the four of you here today. For those watching, we serve about 19,000 veterans here in Butler County. We've got about 4,000 dependents. We also serve, obviously, surviving spouses, whether that be a widow or widower. We also have some parents of service members that were dependent upon the service member, so those fall under dependents. And then we also have some minor children that fall under that, that are eligible for our services. Right now, to do what I just talked about, we have about a 7 to 8 week wait time to see a service officer. So this has created a pretty large access gap with where we're at. The 7 to 8 week wait time is not new. We have been looking at this anywhere from 5 to 7 weeks easily for at least this year, if not all of last year and the year prior to that. We'll talk about why some of that happened. We'll talk about how the commission anticipated it and some previous discussions that we've had. Right now, we have 15.5 FTE. That is including each of you. That's important because you account for 2.5 FTE. We really have 13 full-time employees, including myself. Not knocking you commissioners in any way, but you are considered intermittent part-time employees, but I have to count you somewhere on the FTE, so you each count as a 0.5. So that is included in the 15.5. I fully believe, and as well as Matt and Lisa, we need to be at about 18.5. That's our target FTE to be able to serve our capacity that we've had right now for the last 4 years. That's not talking into the future, that's right now. That is how understaffed we are. That is how much extra work each one of your other 12 employees besides myself are doing at the moment. Why does that 7 to 8 weeks matter so much? That gap, if we just take a veteran that is rated at 50%, which is the middle of the road. You know, ratings go from 0 to 100. There's a whole other category for special monthly compensation or a veteran's pension or DIC. We're not even going to dive into that. Let's just look at service-connected disability and 50%. That's a middle of the road rating. For every month, that equates to $1,132.90 that the veteran will be paid. For 2 months, at 8 weeks, that's $2,265.80. The date of claim matters from the VA. So anything we do today is automatically dated September 1. I could do it August 31st, it's September 1. If I do it September 1st, 2026, whether that be an intent to file or file a claim, it's October 1st to the VA. So when we talk about a 7 to 8 week wait time, we don't have a chance to get their personal information to figure out if they're filing for a service-connected disability compensation, a pension. So we're not filing an intent to file. So the 2-month clock has run. You can see here on the bottom the financial impact to our veterans here in Butler County. If we had 10 veterans, that's $22,658 that did not come back to Butler County for them to pay their bills, their mortgage, grocery shop. That money is lost. If we go all the way up to 100 veterans, you can see that that's $226,580. We see several hundred people in our office a month. So a 7 to 8 week wait time has large impacts overall on the county. The only way to fix that is if I have the staff, more staff, to address it. Right now, we don't have the space to hire the staff. We've got the problem of we could hire staff. I have no offices for them to have those private conversations. Any of the retroactive compensation, that can restore the dollars. We understand that, but it can't restore the time. So for somebody that, as property taxes have increased, as we have the whole inflation thing going on in the community, not just our community, but across the nation, people are looking towards how else can I survive? How can I put food on the table? How can I pay you my utility bill? The costs keep going up, but my wages haven't gone up, or I'm on a fixed income. That certainly hasn't gone up. So every month that passes is impacting those that we serve. If we take a look beyond the numbers, though, we're talking about real veterans, we're talking about real families, and we're talking about real incomes that our office delivers on. we look beyond the numbers and we compare fiscal year 2024 to fiscal year 2025. This is the data that just came out for the 25 year. We served service connection, the 70% or higher. We had an increase of 316 veterans from the immediate previous year. So we increased that by 316 individuals, 70% or higher. These are not small numbers. The example that I gave you in the 7 to 8 week, we're talking about a 50% service-connected disability. This is 70% or higher. The box just to the right of that, we increased the 100% disabled veteran by 168 veterans in 1 year. You can see along the bottom by the age range of how we have increased. So our biggest increase was in the 45 to 64-year-olds. That's probably not surprising if you consider the PACT Act service in the Middle East and how you have directed our marketing to shift to really target the 17 to 64-year-old, right? We wanted to swing that demographic lower to capture those that weren't coming into our office. We've done that. The numbers show that. Nearly all of this growth came again in the 70% or higher rating. So you're talking 70, 80, 90, or 100% is where our numbers grew the most from fiscal year 24 to 25. We have documented planning going back to 2022. What have we documented? The increasing need. In 2022, I had been director. We saw this coming. Obviously, I'm involved on the national side. We saw the PACT Act was coming. So as early as the May tax budget in 2022, we had talked about the staff was growing. We needed some ADA access. There was some issues there. We needed private office space. We needed hearing space because, again, your staff is representing all the way through the Board of Veterans Appeals now. That didn't used to be the case. It used to be for a veteran to have a hearing, they couldn't do a video conference. You would have to drive to Washington, D.C., or you waited for a travel board to come to Cleveland, Ohio, and you went on your own dime without us to represent yourself because that's the way the process did. The Appeals Modernization Act in 2019 changed all of that. We now have virtual hearings, so we're doing those hearings. PACT Act was signed into law August of 2022. Surprise, surprise. I don't think anybody in this room saw the surprise. We had a huge uptick in demand. That was the whole intent of the PACT Act. It was the most, at the time, it was the most expansive veterans benefits change in law since the inception of the VA. We could see the tidal wave coming. That was the whole point of it. It expanded access, it expanded care, it expanded presumptives. It made it easier for Congress to add presumptives to the list. Fast forward into 2023, we physically felt that workload growth. That's evident in the annual reports that you've approved. That's evident in all of the data that you get every month about what the office is doing. In 2024, we continue to see growth, but that's constrained, right? Because we're still limited to the space that we're operating in. In 25, okay, it's starting to get a little bit more pressure, at least on us on the administrative side for myself and Matt and Lisa, because the staff is burning at both ends. We're only talking today about one thing that we do, but you've also got to factor in financial applications, scheduling transportation, outreach events, implementing and standing up a dental program, an expansive program that's been wildly successful, but all of that takes people to implement and to run effectively. So those demands have grown. We evaluated alternatives starting in 2025 because we have to have a plan going forward. I think you all know as commissioners, I have certainly communicated it to the staff. This is my number one project. This is really where the focus is. We have to find a way to continue to serve Butler County veterans and their eligible family members. In 26, I'll be honest, we have completely reached capacity. We are overflowing. You have Mr. Helm, the newest service officer that introduced himself this morning, he's sitting in an open cubicle. Don't ask me for the day when he gets accredited and it's time to take appointments what the plan is. I have a plan, but it's probably one that is going to cause some groaning amongst the board and amongst the staff, because it's going to likely involve staff working remotely. It's likely going to involve people not being in the office and being disconnected. It's going to make it harder for communications, but we have to solve the space issue. We are at the capacity. Again, 13.5 FTE. We grew that to 15.5 just to handle what we were handling. There's still a need. Private offices, again, those conversations are very intimate and in-depth. There's got to be some community space here. Our community partners serving the veterans. Veterans feel comfortable when they come to our office. They don't want to go to the VA. They don't want to go to another building. They want to come where they're comfortable. We have community partners that are willing to serve them where we are. The problem? I don't have the space. We don't have the capacity to serve them. So when you talk about the vet center, that group is limited and they provide free counseling to any veteran. They do include spouses in that and family members, any combat veteran. They provide it free of charge. Veterans like the vet center because it doesn't go into their VA medical record. It's separate from their medical record. They feel safe with that organization and our space. That group is limited to 8 people because that is all we can fit in our conference room. Is there a need for more? There sure is. Is there a need for other groups? Is there a need for different hours to accommodate the veteran that works during the day that can't come on a Monday morning at 9 a.m.? Yes. Where do I put them? Who staffs it? We're at capacity. I can't begin to ask the staff, hey, who can work late or who can hang out tonight so we can have a group? So we've got to have some community space. That's just one example. We've got financial literacy classes provided by the Coleraine Chamber of Commerce and the credit union over there. Fantastic program. They have reached capacity. We have had to shift and say, we call Job and Family Services here in the county, their director, Julie Gilbert, and said, is this conference room open? I've got 15 people. And again, they're providing, it starts as a group, and then they break down and they go over individual finances, income, expenses, assets, how to save, how to balance a checkbook, all things that will help limit our liability is not the right word, but they help our financial assistance program, and they help the veteran or the surviving spouse understand basic finances. Because you would be surprised the numbers that just don't understand it. They just don't understand the concept of money in, money out, how to balance a checkbook. We're teaching that. They don't teach that in school, but it's important that we teach the community and those that we serve how to do that so that they can be productive members and they can get out of oftentimes vicious cycles. So we need about 10,000 square feet. It is what it is. I will go through how we got to that. But I think the important thing on this slide is that the commission has identified this need going back as early as May of 2022, but it is now to a boiling point where it is affecting our daily operations. We can't adequately or effectively serve those that we serve. I don't have another way to put it to you and sugarcoat it. I just don't. So sorry if that sounds direct, but that's where we're at. How did we get to the 10,000 square feet? So we took the dimensions on the left are Matt's office. It's currently 16 feet by 1/8 of an inch by 8 feet. We added 3 feet to the length and 3 feet to the width, which would bring you to about 19 feet by 11 feet. Why do we need a private office space that's 19 feet by 11 feet? Oftentimes, it's not just a veteran. You have a veteran and a spouse. If we convolute that a little bit more, one of them has a mobility device, whether that be a motorized scooter, whether that be a wheelchair, a walker. So now we have to fit both in the office space. We need room for the staff to exit the office to make copies. We need room for the staff to get out in the case of an emergency. Believe it or not, things go wrong in our office. The number of veterans that think that we are the Department of Veterans Affairs or directly connected to the federal government would blow your mind. Sometimes veterans are just frustrated and they just need to vent, but the employee still needs safety. So we need ways to get in and out. So that's one scenario. The other scenario is let's take the aging veteran. So the aging veteran comes in and he has a spouse with him and maybe they're in their 80s. Well, guess what? They also have a durable power of attorney and their son or daughter or grandson or picket. So there's now 3 people that we have to fit because the veteran and or the spouse may not be 100% in their right mind to make these decisions. That's why the durable power of attorney is there. That is why somebody can speak. They may not know what they have in their bank account because they don't handle their finances anymore. This is common. So we've got to be able to fit the staff member plus 3 people and still have egress and entry into the office. So that's Matt's example with his office. The other example that I pulled is the public lobby or the waiting area. Right now we can seat 8 in our lobby. You can do the math in your head and say, well, you see more than 8 people at every appointment time. Yes, I know. Our current space is 16 feet, 11 and a half inches by just over 12 feet. Again, we can fit 8 individuals, 8 chairs. So what happens when an individual comes in with a mobility device? Well, the first problem we have is they can't get over the building that is settled from the sidewalk on Veteran Street. So a staff member typically has to run around the corner and help lift the front of that device to get them over the hump and in if it's a manual device. The second thing that happens is now they're parked in the middle of the floor for everybody coming in. That poses an issue with introductions. You're talking about the front desk checking someone in. Maybe they're a walk-in and they don't have an appointment, so we have to get some information. Everybody else coming in is now on top of one another, and it stacks. You factor in if we have a group on a Monday for the vet center, if we have financial literacy, if we have a suicide prevention meeting, if we have any type of other meeting, those are all having to be flexed around when do our appointments get out of the lobby? When can we have the space to allow someone in the front door? So the lobby space that I think we need is 30 feet by 20 feet. That would seat 15 to 20 guests comfortably and allow for someone to park or have a mobility device and sit and not be in the middle or feel like they're out of place and feel welcomed. So that would add 600 square feet. So we simply took the measurements of our existing space, we adjusted for what that need capacity and or accessibility looks like. We calculated each space that we currently have to the new space. We added it all up, and that comes out to 10 to 13,000 square feet. Again, I can't change the numbers, but a number of, when we looked at the space analysis and the board asked me to take a look at that in 2022, we saved a ton of money. I don't need a consulting firm to come in and measure the space and tell me what size I have. We have the floor plans. I have it. It tells me exactly what the current dimensions are. Okay, well, if I can't turn the wheelchair towards the person serving me, I need 3 feet because I need to turn and I need room for my employee to walk through. So this is how we came up with the 10 to 13,000 square feet. It's a range. Again, there's some areas, perhaps you need a community room, not 2. Perhaps you can move a storage space, or you can get things, architects can get puzzle pieces to fit where I'm not able to. But it's a range. But the cost of these delays is already visible. Again, we talked about the 7 to 8 weeks appointment times. That is impacting our community members. The extra hours that your staff is putting in, that is a ton of workload pressure. What that leads to is the next one in burnout. That's a human capital risk. We could spend more time and resources serving the veterans versus going out and finding other qualified candidates. The important thing to remember here is that when we hire someone, if you take any employer here in Butler County and their employment field is the size of a dollar bill, That's everybody that's eligible for a job that's applying for the job. As the Veteran Service Commission, we have a dime on top of the dollar. Because for us, they have to have served in the military or they have to be a direct related. So our job field, our candidate field just went like this to find it. You got to find the right people. We've got the right people in place, but we're still short and your staff is burning at both ends. We don't have room to hire more. It's a constraint. It's not a budget constraint. We certainly have money in the budget and we could look, and we have identified some service area gaps in some areas where, for further conversation, where we think an FTE would be best placed to best serve and best help what we've built here. But there's no room to hire. We can't do it. And the meetings have moved, right? So we have shifted. Your board meeting is obviously here. The City of Hamilton Council Chambers, we're very grateful for them to afford that to us. But that's not the only meeting. The Suicide Prevention Committee meeting doesn't fit in our room. We've had financial literacies not fit in our room. So we're not serving even where we have the need. We've had to shift things. Shifting things is not as easy as, I want to use this room. There's other resources, other assets that use the same space. So the challenge is not the condition of the space that we currently have, it's simply the capacity, right? We have reached the capacity. We have 7 to 8 week wait times. We have 15.5 FTE, that's including each of you. Our meeting space, we've been displaced there. We have limped along and we have made that work for years. We can't continue on this path. I'm just here to tell you that the staff is feeling this. And every month, God love them all, I say, follow me. Trust me. I'm going to work on this. We're going to work out the space. Just trust me. Hang in there. Please hang in there. Do a little more. I know we're asking a lot, but stay with me here. We're going to get it back. The help's on the way. How long can you say that? We're at 4 years of saying this, and I don't know that we're any further than we were. But the staff is at a very fragile point. And I think that if you look now, the staff that we have would bend over backwards or get hit by a car or take a bullet before they truly said, I can't do it. Now, you have lost staff recently because of burnout, because of vicarious trauma, because of things. Those are all factors and those are all risk factors. But we need the space. We need a space where we can have private conversations. So we've identified some basic requirements, obviously parking. So it starts when the veteran arrives. Where do they park? How do they access your building? That is not negotiable. We have to have a significant amount of parking spaces because you've got the staff plus employees plus meetings happening in and out 5 days a week, if not 6 days a week, some months. Accessible entryway. The operational footprint's got to be somewhere between 8,000 and 13,000 square feet. The space is the space. Like, again, I can't make puzzle pieces fit where they don't fit. And based on our current space, you need another 3 feet to be able to turn a wheelchair. And Matt has one of the largest, if not the largest office that sees clients. Now, Matt has put in his time here, and that's not a knock on Matt. But if we go to another office, you couldn't sit across from the desk without your legs hitting it. So what do we do with someone with a walker? We have to address it, and that space was built 10 plus years ago. It worked for the time being, but fast forward and we are behind the power curve and not able to adequately serve our constituents. So we got to have privacy. Security, I talked about it a little bit. We've got to have some security, and we've got to have a flexible layout that allows for us to grow. I think 18.5, if you asked me today, that's where we need to be. If you ask me in 5 years, I have no idea. Because at your board meeting, we've talked about TACAVA, which is the Take Care of American Veterans Act. It's still floating out there on Capitol Hill. If we thought the PACT Act was big, Takava lumps in 60-plus veteran bills that have been on the Hill, some of them for a decade. It will now take the cake, if passed in some form, of the largest expansion of veterans benefits. We're going to see the rush again. And to be very candid with the board, we don't have the staff to support it. We don't. We don't have the staff to implement new programs. And I appreciate the board saying in December, no new programs, hold, work on what we got, and let's figure out the space. But that's got to be the plan. We've got to work out the space. I believe, and the Space Utilization Committee believes, that there's two paths forward. One of them is county-owned property. We could renovate an existing county asset. There's obviously some good long-term public asset value there, and that the county already owns the space. We could build it out. That's a county asset, so the capital programming is central. It's already within the county. We could also look at private commercial lease space. That is probably least favorable because then you've got the risk of entering a long-term contract and doing capital improvements to a building or an asset that the county doesn't own. The commission would never own the building. The assets are listed under Butler County. It is the Butler County Board of Commissioners that owns property. So understand there are risks each way that we go, but those are the two options. We do have about 5 private commercial spaces to look at. There is at least one county-owned property, although we recently rejected the offer due to parking. 80% of the parking lot can't be full before I get the first appointment in the door. That's not great planning. So the Space Utilization Committee felt it was best to reject that offer and say that's not going to work. It's not going to work just to say yes, to take the option and say, well, we did it, Mike, because we're just going to create problems downstream. And if we can identify those early on, then we know. Space Utilization Committee thinks that success looks like starting when you arrive. Can you get in the building? Do you feel welcomed? Do you know where to go? That's important. A veteran wants to know they're in the right spot. It shouldn't be guessing. Next is they need to feel welcome. That's on my staff and your staff to do. That's the receptionist's job, to make them feel welcome. They would meet with someone. It would be a private, ADA accessible space in the office. They connect. What we talked about in those difficult conversations can't happen without building rapport with a person sitting across from you. It just can't. Sometimes it takes more than one office visit or more than one meeting to get someone to open up, particularly around mental health, military sexual trauma, physical assault. Sometimes, I can speak for a veteran that I serve and still serve. It's been 10 years dealing with the veteran. We filed 3 claims in the first 4 years. There was no mention of any type of assault or any type of traumatic event. It came out years later after they trusted me to open up. And guess what? It's documented in their record. There are stressors, there are markers in their personnel file that all collaborate their story and verify. They're now 100% permanent and total. But that took years to gain that rapport and that trust. So we've got to be able to connect. The veteran has to feel welcome. The staff member has to be able to feel comfortable asking those questions and coming to work and doing their job. And when the veteran leaves or the surviving spouse leaves, they've got to know what the next step is, where you're at, what the follow-up is, and how to do it. That's what success looks like. Again, I think we need to be at about 18.5 FTE. That's including the 5 commissioners. I think we need at least 1, if not 2 community rooms. We need board space. Remember, your board space is subject to Ohio sunshine laws, so it cannot be behind a locked door. There's no requirement that says a staff member has to escort you or let you in. You have open public meetings. Anybody can walk in the door at any time and observe your meeting. That is Ohio Sunshine Law. That is not a wish. That is the law. It's important that we have that. And again, we're very grateful for the city of Hamilton for affording us this space to do those kinds of operations. But we need to look at it. We need to look at the long-term solution. So one possible funding solution that our Space Utilization Committee has talked about is roughly a $6 million working plan. So if we look at calendar year 2026, that's this year, there's about $3 million in unallocated capacity. If we look at next year, calendar year 27, there's about $3.8 million of projected capacity from our 0.5 millage. So if you combine those together, you'd have about a $6 million combined 2-year capacity. That's this year, unspent, unallocated, plus next year's unallocated. We're talking about a 20-year vision. I don't think we should plan to move and do a 5-year plan or what will get us through to 2030. Matt and I were talking about it this morning. I probably have 25 to 30 more years before I can retire by age. I got a long way to go. I want to do, let's build it right. Let's build something that Butler County can be proud of, or renovate something that we could be proud of. That is the 20-plus year plan. This is a once in my career move here. The goal is not to keep moving around or keep leapfrogging. So that's one possible solution. We're looking at a 20-year return on investment here. For the veterans, they've got a safe space where they feel welcome. They can come to meet. They know where it's at. For our workforce, we could talk about lessening the burnout, the fatigue, the human capital risk by maintaining. For the county, well, they have always been able to count on the Veteran Service Commission, whether that's supporting county operations, whether that's supporting county training. You all have done a great job at managing the commission. That's an asset to the county. You don't have to double check behind your all's work, because the 4 of you present today, but including Commissioner Robinette, who's not here, you do a great job managing. You manage the expectations of myself. You set it clear. I pass the word to the staff. That's the way it happened in the military, and we all served. It passes down, and you pass down, and you hand down. So it's a reflection on the county, but it's really a reflection on how good you all do it. And our community partners need a spot where they can count on to do financial literacy, vet center training, mental health, suicide prevention committees. You know, we have the Board of Mental Health over, or we have Primary Health Solutions over. Realize that I, in my office, cannot have a meeting of more than 2 people. So if you're Primary Health Solutions and you want to bring over your team to talk about how we could look at expanding or doing more, you're not coming to my office, because I don't have space for you. I'll come over to you. Can we meet somewhere? Is there another community space? I think if we design a well-designed facility, it's going to pay off in the long run. What I would like to see, and the Space Utilization Committee would like to see, is this type of implementation. Again, this is a 4+ year endeavor of identifying we're going to be short on space, we're understaffed. All of a sudden, now we're over capacity, we're busting at the seams. In 30 days, I think we need to align with the county. So what is the exact policy direction and the reserve concept? So how is it going to be funded? Remember that as the Board of Commissioners for the Veteran Service Commission, you cannot do capital improvement projects. You cannot budget for them. So it's going to take a collaborative approach here. So I think in 30 days, we need to align. Within 45 days, we need to agree on the program and the direction forward. Within 90 days, we need to be getting estimates, architectural work, making sure that the space will fit, the layout fits, it meets our needs not only for today, but it meets our needs for the foreseeable future in the next 2 decades. And our goal was within 120 days, we are quote unquote breaking ground or starting the renovation process so that we can get this along and get it moving. That's where the Space Utilization Committee is as of today. It has been a long road. I think it's important that, where we're at in this phase is that we rejected the property on Liberty Fairfield Road. We talked about that last month. We talked about the pros and cons. Since that meeting, we had other conversations. The parking lot is the hinging factor, and the county is not willing to invest at this time in adding parking. So 80% of the parking lot is taken just by employees in the building. There would be 3 offices if we were to move there. We're not going to rehash that today, but there would be 3 offices that are all public facing, meaning they all get visitors or clientele from the county, from the community, whether that be contractors at Water and Sewer, it could be somebody, a customer of Water and Sewer. Building and zoning get a lot of contractors and builders, and then obviously you have our operations. That's not great planning there. So we formally rejected that property and said it won't work. So we have come to the conclusion that, our working budget, what we think of roughly the $6 million, doesn't align with, at this time, with what the county is thinking. So what Administrator Boyko is trying to do is get a public work session for the county commissioners to understand what adequate space for us looks like and what we do on a daily basis. Ideally, it would be an announced public meeting, so all 5 of you could be there. We've got to start aligning on what the vision is. But we can't keep punting because unfortunately, I can't keep punting to the staff. I can't keep punting to the veterans. It's mortifying to have a receptionist run around the corner, go through a door, through the metal detector, to lift a mobility device over. It's mortifying to say, well, let me move some chairs out of my office so you can come in, because I can't fit your mobility device. It's not fair to those that we serve. It's not fair to the staff. But we've got to look at a long-term solution, and it can't be 2 more years of conversation, in the opinion of our Space Utilization Committee. And with that, I'll ask if anybody has any questions. It's a little bit longer than I wanted to talk this morning, but obviously we're passionate about it. Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Rosenbaum. We've had a lot of discussions about it, a lot of meetings, and we're passionate about it. We need to get to a workable solution. But I think the first step in getting on the right path is you all as a board supporting a public work session with the Board of County Commissioners to have the conversation and allow me the opportunity to explain what we do and what we think is adequate space and why. And with that.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mike. It's a lot to take in. Obviously, it took us 2 weeks to come up with the slideshow, pretty much, and it's gone through multiple iterations. But I've been a commissioner 9 years to come this January, and the biggest fear I have, if we can't find a successful way of doing this with the county, is the mental health of the staff. I realize all the veterans that are out there, we need to take care of them, but we can't do it if the staff can't perform. And in the 9 years I've been here, I know of at least 3, if not 4, that part of the reason why they left us was mental health burnout. And, if you look at the group we got now, like I said, they're great Matt's pleased with them, Lisa's pleased with them. I'm very pleased with the group we got now. I would hate for another one to walk out the door because we can't get something done on this. So with that, if anybody's got anything they'd like to add, say, whatever.
I just really, there was a lot of information, like Bruce said, and I just want to thank the committee for the very informational presentation that will make people understand what the mission is here, what the job our employees are doing every day, and how important it is to get a facility that not only takes care of our problems today, but will address them in the future. And I think adding the full-time employees is a definite, and a larger space that we can grow into, not just fill, but grow into for the future is very important. And Mike made a comment about punting. I think it's, the punting's over. We need a game plan like he presented to win, to get this done.
Okay, Mark, got anything you'd like to add or anything?
I just hope this is a successful effort on our part so the county understands our needs, and the mission is to serve the veterans of Butler County, and that's our primary focus. So hopefully that works out for us.
As soon as we find out the date, and rather it'll be to a type of meeting that all 5 of us can be at, we'll let you know. If not, then your committee will be the ones representing you there, just like we've been doing with the program so far. Okay, with that said, anyone else? Okay, next up is bill payment, operational expenses approval.
I move to approve the listed bills for July 1st, 2026 through July 31st, 2026.
I second that.
Have a motion and a second. Anybody have anything they want to point out? Lisa, please.
Commissioner Rosenbaum,
Yes.
Commissioner Applegate,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes. The budget analysis, I didn't see anything. The 30,000, if you're not aware of what it is, it's the laptops, I believe, Mike.
Correct.
Yeah, so, we knew that was coming, so, I saw nothing out of the ordinary or anything. Is there anything you want to point out, Mike?
No.
Okay, this is the part that I like. We have a correspondence and communication from one of our veterans. It's to Mr. Jones. I believe that would be Matt. To you and all your staff, thank you for helping with my VA claim. I don't know what I would have done without you all. Again, thank you. God bless you all. John Paul Jones, another Jones. So, Matt, obviously this person, Mr. Jones, felt it necessary to make sure everybody understood what we did, what the organization did for him, and you apparently were a major part of it. It's always great getting these kind of things so everybody out there understands, you are appreciated for what you do. All right. Anybody want to add anything to that? I stumbled through. Okay. Statistical reporting. First up is the July Statistical Reporting Service Officers. As I think somebody pointed out last month, the reason it was low, and now you see it jump right back up. It's not full of what we use, but it has gotten back up to a larger number of visits, which just goes to show what we've been talking about in the slide presentation of the workload here. Matt, you want to add anything to that?
I think you covered it, Bruce, already. The the numbers, at least for office visits and things, did go back up to an earlier amount or were expected with the number of service officers that we have fully operational and working with. So they continue to do a fantastic job with the resources they have available to them.
Yeah. And those that are looking at, if anybody was to look at earlier in the year, numbers were different for us earlier in the year, so numbers on our staff. So. Okay, next up is financial assistance. It looks like she's doing a great job at getting people what they're, you only had 2 incomplete, and I'd be willing to bet the veteran didn't, or spouse did not bring back what they needed to, is what made them incomplete. Okay, so you see there, she worked out, 28 total applications and $43,000 worth of assistance. Does anybody want to add anything? Those that are watching can see where the money went, what areas it went to. Homeless assistance, still just got the 1 or 2,
Currently have 3.
3. When did we get the 3rd one? A new slide. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so we got 3. And the 2,
They look to be resolved pretty soon. One has a date of the 19th for a home inspection. Another one put in an application on the 18th. And our newest person started a new job. So hopefully these 3 are about to get placed.
that's great.
How is the timing with the VA? Is that got any better? I know at one of the last meetings there was kind of a point to where our program was almost expiring before theirs was able to step in. Is that?
No, we've been fine. The gentleman that's been in the longest, we've been waiting on a home inspection for.
Okay,
So
good, thank
the
you.
other 2 have been moving along like they should.
That's great. When you think, again, when you look back to some of the stuff Mike talked about during the presentation, this is another task that we've taken on that most people probably have no clue we do it. Most people have no clue how many people we've taken through this program, and it's not something that just you put the veteran in a hotel and wait something out. There's a lot of follow-up and so forth that has to be done. So thank you to all of you for helping our homeless. Next is the phone reporting. Unless, Lisa, you had something else you wanted to talk about on that. Okay. All right, so another 1,155 phone calls. Unbelievable. Lisa, you got anything you want to add to that?
Not really.
Okay. Mike?
No, I would just point out that, the way this breaks down is the way it's intended. The average call time is 1 minute, 51 seconds to get the issue taken care of, whether that's scheduling an appointment to completion, scheduling a ride for transportation, or getting an answer to an immediate question. The hold time is less than 12 seconds. And so there have been some solutions floated across multiple industries. However, they are not good solutions for us. When a veteran calls a place, they want to speak to a person. They don't want an AI-guided voice prompt or tell me where you're going or push this number for this person and this number for that person. Pick up the phone. We've got a live person. It's working well. You can see the distribution. The new service officers, David, Brian, and Chuck, have all kind of shared in that load as they're in training. And it still takes 2.5 minimum FTE just to answer the phones Monday through Friday, 8 to 4.
You know, but it's, you know, with that, look, I mean, I think they do a great job at the amount of time it takes them and the hold time and everything, you know. I don't think I've ever called in here that I even got anything other than somebody answering and saying.
I think that's terrific because it's getting to know the office right away in a personal way, which leads to a relationship, which is what we want with our veterans.
Okay, next is veteran transportation. State about it.
You can see the big spike. So compared to last month, your number of trips, total trips is way up at 181. So this makes sense because if you place this on the timeline of what's going on in the world of VA medical centers, both Dayton and Cincinnati were moving to the electronic health record. As they did that, the medical centers intentionally kind of had a wind down of the capacity of who was scheduling appointments in those time frames, so that when they came back up online on the new system, there wasn't this huge backlog of, I don't know where I'm clicking, I don't know how to do it, did the file import right. So we're getting back to full demand. Both of those occurred at the beginning of June. So it's back to pacing what it was earlier in March, or if you compare it to like a July, August, September of last year, it's more in line with that. The board has asked that we call out, how many trips to our office or for the dental program. We had 4 trips to our office and 3 for the dental program.
Yeah, that's good. Anybody got any questions? All right, next is the outreach for August and September. Obviously, the next thing up is this Saturday for there's a church. What's the Emily Children's for? You told me that last time what that was, didn't you?
Correct. There's a resource expo or a fair in Middletown that we'll be attending on the northern side of the county.
Okay, and like I said earlier, after this meeting, the 4 of us will break down how we're going to help cover Saturday. Like I said, early on and at the end, definitely need probably 2 of us to help get set up and tear down. But there are other tasks that we can do throughout the day, especially after we found out about the way the alcohol sales has to be done. They may need some help over there. What's the girl's name?
Mandy.
Mindy. Mandy or Mindy?
Mandy.
Mandy. She's volunteered to help with all that, but she may need some assistance if it's nothing more than going and getting restock or something. So make sure you're available. And then this next hike at Timberman Ridge, if you've never been there or you don't know what it is, there's actual tree huts in this park that you can get up in and camp in. The only reason I know that is my grandson's birthday party was out there a couple weeks ago, and the one lady that was at the party knew about them and took the kids down to show them and all, so they were excited. And then I just wanted to point out it's our last concert, November the 11th. It's an Eagles tribute band down at the River's Edge. That'll shut our season out for concerts. I'm sure we're probably already planning for next year, but so anybody got anything else?
I'd just like to comment quickly on the Warrior Walk. I just want to just make sure everyone's aware that we are going to be there as a vendor, but this was not a event put on by the Veteran Service Commission. And if you have any questions, there's an email address that you can send them to. I just wanted to put it out there. It's Hamilton Warrior Walk at gmail.com. So if you go on the Eventbrite site and try to register and you got any questions, just send an email and someone will get back with you.
All right. Anybody else?
I would just point out to the board that this goes through September 26th. Due to your operational demands and staffing, we're really, if you asked us for an outreach, it should be after October 31st because we're booked out 8 weeks, which takes us to the end of October. So we're currently booking Veterans Day events. They're starting to plan the Middletown Luncheon. That's coming up. And we are also planning our Veterans Day event. We had a meeting yesterday.
Okay, so the things that would happen in, well, it would be November after October, we need to make ourselves as much as possible available to cover some of those, to allow the staff not to have to worry about it. So, you know, try to keep your schedule open for November, December. Really, November, December is not quite as bad, unless we do our caroling again, then.
I'll check into it.
That'll be bad.
I think, you notice no one's asked us to come back. All right, so, moving right along.
Me.
New business we got coming up here.
Just 3 items for your consideration this morning, Commissioners. Item 7A is to approve the homeless housing applications as adjudicated June 1st to June 30th, 2026 in the amount of $4,508. We went through that in under the statistics. This number reflects 2 of the 3. Obviously, the other one just came in the month of August, so you haven't seen it yet. But that program has been a great success. When you look at 75% of the veterans have been placed in permanent housing, and the 3 that we have currently in the program are all well on their way to permanent housing. You're talking about an 80+% of permanent housing placement. So that's just a little bit about that program. Item 7B is to approve the purchase of ChatGPT Business for 13 users at the rate of $20 per user per month. Commissioners, about a year and a half ago, the board approved us to use AI. We came up with an AI policy. I think it certainly has its places in the work that we do. It doesn't fit every case and every scenario. What we've run into is that at this time, you've got about 5 staff members who are starting to utilize it more. Each one of those is an individual invoice, either on their card or on one of the P cards, the credit cards. So this would allow us to switch to a business account and have one invoice for all the users, maintain a little bit more control, particularly if an employee leaves, we can turn that one off and we can switch one in as we do with our other license. And finally, 7C is to approve 3 staff service officers. That would be Brian Raleigh, Chuck McCrossin, and David Helm to attend the NACVSO Basic Benefits course. That's going to be held September 28th to October 2nd. That's an online virtual format in which we expect them to take the test for accreditation at the end of the course and successfully pass in an amount not to exceed $1,200.
Okay, can I get a motion?
I move to approve the new business as presented.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any questions on the 3 items? Everybody's in agreement. We're voting on all 3 items. All right, Lisa, please.
Commissioner Rosenbaum,
Yes.
Commissioner Applegate,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes. Next up is any guests. We don't have any today. So, executive session. Can I get a motion to move into it?
I move to enter an executive session to discuss financial applications July 1st, 2026 through to July 31st, 2026 as adjudicated.
I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Lisa, please.
Commissioner Rosenbaum,
Yes.
Commissioner Applegate,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes. We will not be gone very long. We have just the one item to look at.
Thank you.
See the little stuff that part.
Just guess. Steve, you ready? That was pretty quick, but.
All right, as I said, we wouldn't be gone very long. So at this time, we're gonna vote on what was discussed in executive session.
I move to accept the financial assistance applications from July 1st, 2026 through July 31st, 2026 as adjudicated.
I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Lisa, please.
Commissioner Rosenbaum.
Yes.
Commissioner Applegate.
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes. This time we have the commissioner and executive staff's comments. I think I'm gonna let the commissioners go first this time. Mark?
I have nothing, thank you.
Ken?
Nothing, I'm good.
Nothing.
Well, going first paid off, huh? I think everybody had an opportunity to say what they wanted during the meeting, but I think the staff understand that we definitely appreciate what they do, and we understand the issues that we need to find a correction to. Okay, Mike?
Nothing further.
Matt?
Well, I'll say that I'd like to also thank the staff for being accommodating and helping out training our 3 new service officers that we're onboarding at this time. All 3 of them very bright gentlemen. I think they're going to do well. We're still very early in our process of training, but they seem to be picking up well. So. Also, thank the service officers. They're also helping quite a bit in this training as well, where in the past, most of the training I've done myself. With 3 of them, that's really not feasible. So they are chipping in more and helping out with that training, and I appreciate that help, and I think they're doing a great job.
All right, thank you. And lastly, but not least,
I don't have anything
Wow.
at this time.
did we wear ourselves out? All right. So our next meeting is Tuesday, September 15th, right here at 9:30 a.m. The reason why is we have our silent watch on the 16th, and we've discovered when we tried once before that doesn't work real good to have our meeting and silent watch. So Tuesday, September 15th is our next meeting. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move that we adjourn the meeting for today.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. This is an all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for joining us.